I can do this. I'm gonna hide my powers and be a normal man having a normal day. Hang on. Starting now. Oh.
Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our Paws On Animation channel.
Today we're covering the new DC series, My Adventures with Superman.
Yes, as requested by a Twitter follower.
Yes.
Ito. Now this retelling of Superman's origins goes for a more lighthearted take as Clark, Lois and Jimmy work as a team during their internship at the Daily Planet. Now amongst this, Clark slowly discovers who he is and his past reveals his secret.
Right. And before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and click notification bells on future podcasts and World of Paws videos.
Absolutely. Now this series is developed by Jake Wyatt, produced by Warner Brothers Animation and DC Entertainment, and the animation is outsourced to Studio Mirror, who you know from Voltron,
Yes.
Legend of Korra.
Yes. And it's obvious when you watch it.
Not Dota.
In Avatar.
What's the name of the game?
Dota.
Yeah, Dota. Thank you. And other animated series that's in Korea. And the series only going to be 10 episodes.
So far, maybe if it's popular enough, they'll renew it for another set episode.
For this season, it's only 10 episodes.
Yeah.
The last scheduled to be aired September 1st.
Right. So we wanted to cover what we've watched so far, and since we're already halfway through the season, might as well give you our thoughts on it.
Absolutely. So basically the premise is the story follows Clark as he builds a secret identity, working with Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen as we've never seen them, and coming up with a bunch of villains that some are new and some are old, with new versions of the old villains.
Yeah, very new.
And the biggest standout on this series, or of this series I should say, is that everything looks like
Voltron!
And Legend of Korra. They all look like those characters.
Oh my gosh, that's probably one of the semi-fun parts of it.
Yes. Looking and going, okay, that's Zarkon.
Yes, oh my gosh. And when the show's first announced, a lot of people were really not excited. They really wanted to see the Batman one, but they decided to put that on hold and put out Superman. And they chose Superman because it was supposed to be just pretty much hailed as a Western anime. Mm-hmm. That's what they have advertised the show to be, a Western anime, part superhero, part shoujo. I'm not kidding you, that's literally how they advertise it. And when they first had the pictures of the characters, they weren't very flattering looking. It looked like it was going in the direction of the same old tired thing you've been seeing of revamping the characters and making them nothing like how you know. But once the show came on, we were actually pleasantly surprised. It actually was fun. It had some flaws, a couple things where they completely took from anime, but it wasn't a horrendous watch at all.
Absolutely. Animation looks so good, of course, Studio Mirror. And you could also see where some of the characters and some of the storylines and backstories have been taken from comics like Superman and the Clan.
Yes.
And some other series. So you can see where they've been interjected and molded to creating these characters.
Right.
It looks like the goal is to make something that was different.
Right.
And unique, where you still have elements of some of the characters that we know,
right,
but something different. And personally, I think they succeeded. I like that it's lighthearted. I didn't think I would, but I really do.
Because usually when they do lighthearted, they make it really bad.
Right. I like their friendship. I like that the voice actors seem really genuine in their portrayal. It seems like there's a rapport between the three main characters that comes across in the delivery. I love it. You have a version of Lois that's not only smart, but she's smart enough in 3 episodes to figure out that Clark is Superman.
Yeah, so none of that whole arc of trying to figure out his identity, him trying to hide it from her, and that whole thing. No, they said, screw it, she knows.
And then you find out in episode 4 that Jimmy is also smart enough to know that he's Superman, but a friend enough to wait till he was ready to tell him. So yes, this is a really different version of our heroes. And they did a great job. I hope this is the beginning of seeing more good things from DC, because the last few years have been pretty much crap.
Yeah.
So this is refreshing that they're going in a different direction that actually works. And I hope this is the start of seeing more better things from DC animated.
Right.
And hopefully it goes over into comics. We've been seeing some new comics coming out as well.
Right.
Two that look exceptionally interesting to us, and we can't wait to read them. So we hope that this is just, yes, rebranding, and not rebranding, I would say resuscitation
Yes.
of DC Comics.
Right. And as you're watching it, your opinion of the episode can change because each episode is different from each other, but it's one continuous story. And the story is pretty much Clark / Superman becoming Superman. They sort of have him beginning. And originally we thought it was going to be him growing up to be Superman. It started with him as a kid and then as an adult. But they haven't done that yet.
And that was really part of what I loved about the first 2 episodes. The flashbacks were really good. And I remember you saying you liked the look of the flashbacks a lot.
Yeah.
And I liked that it was making it a little more personal and having a deeper meaning.
Right.
And you really liked the kid Clark.
Yeah.
So 2 things came to mind. One, they should have made a series based on the kid Clark, based on the version in this series, which is fantastic. And 2, I was hoping they were going to do that every episode, but after episode 2, it stopped.
Yeah.
I was like, what happened? I was loving those flashbacks.
Right. And like the only few little things that might be sort of not so great is that, you know, they have the trope of discovering yourself, which you see a whole lot in TV shows now, and it's in here too. But every episode, Clark has to say, "Who am I?" It's like, I know, we already know, Superman, and it can kind of get a little annoying, just a little bit, because like we keep hearing it over and over every episode. We know you're figuring who you are. We know you're gonna be Superman. It kind of doesn't work when we know what you're gonna be, and that's just it. It's like the only little nitpick you have for it.
Well, for me, I'm gonna say this is one of the rare times we see it differently.
Right.
Because of this version, and they're all so young, and he's a young Clark, I think it's okay he's asking, who am I?
Right.
Because it's not like when he's older in his 30s.
Oh, yeah.
Mid-30s, where Lois and he are older and Jimmy's younger, and that traditional one.
Right.
But they're all younger. So he really is trying to figure out who he is. So for me, because of that, it actually doesn't bother me.
Right. And the designs aren't actually bad for the main trio. The Jimmy one clearly took after Supergirl. Lois Lane looks like...
No, Jimmy took after Prince Wu from Legend of Korra.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's
he looks
right.
like Prince Wu with darker skin.
That's right.
it.
That's right. And
he acts like him too.
Right. And Lois looks like Luz from the Owl House. I mean, everyone just... That's become a meme now. She looks so much like her. Like, it's Lois. And Superman, they made... quite different too, but they made sure he didn't look so far away from what you know him to be. Looking at Superman, that he looked like a different character.
Oh, he looks like Cheryl. Come on.
Yes, and that's it. It's like
Cheryl.
Like, I think they saw my videos because I've casted Cheryl as Superman so many times. I think they said, "Hey, let's just make Cheryl Superman, make it canon." Now I want to be paid, DC. And it's funny because he actually looks like one of the characters I designed for a story. So it's kind of ironic kind of seeing part of it being animated now.
Yes. So let's talk about the voice. Well, first of all, I like the designs. And yes, even though every single character reminds us of a former, or previous, I should say, animated Studio Mirror show, we still like the main characters and the supporting characters, like this version of Perry White.
Right.
He's kind of like a throwback where he's grumpy, kind of like the Jameson type.
Right.
The villains, I don't know. That's probably for me right now the only thing that really isn't working are the villains.
Yeah,
because they've aged down Slade.
He doesn't look anything like Slade now. Yeah.
The other one looks like Zarkon.
Yeah. Ivo has a suit supposed to be the Amazo suit, but it looks nothing like an Amazo. It looks like he took Gore-Tex and made a Zarkon suit. And all I could think, my brain was just seeing Zarkon the whole time. I couldn't see Amazo.
Yeah.
And then they had the Intergang who looked nothing like how they originally looked. One of them looked like Hunk. If he became a criminal.
Yes. It was a cross between Hunk, I told you, and someone
And
else.
Cheryl. You said Hunk and Cheryl, right?
Hunk and Cheryl, yeah.
I was like, what the heck? Did Hunk become a criminal now? And then one's supposed to be Heatwave, who they gender bend, and yeah, unless and live art looks completely different. Unless you know the names of the villains, they have to tell you the names because you will not recognize any of these villains looking at them.
The only one you recognize is it Monsieur Mala?
Yeah, Milo was easy because it's a gorilla.
And the Brain.
Yeah.
That's the only two.
Right. Who are no longer criminal masterminds that want to take over the world. Now they're just husbands now. I mean, which is canon. I mean, in the comics,
Right.
they were just like, I don't know, it was kind of weird seeing them be good guys now.
And I think that was different. They really were going for different. Like I said, for some of those other villains, it didn't work. This actually, surprisingly, was the 4th episode?
4th or 5th, yeah. Oh wait, it's the 5th
The
because
5th
that's the reason.
episode where they appear. You didn't think it was going to work when you saw them, but by the time it got to the end, you were like, okay. In a weird way, that actually worked. The episode worked better than the other villains, which is really weird. Because, you know, like you said, Slade isn't Slade, and then we thought the older guy was Slade, but he's not. Then you were like, is it his dad? Because they got the same name. And all this stuff just weird. It actually ended up working. It was different from the other versions you've seen, except for the backstory. It was a little odd seeing them go back to when Brain was human and seeing that. But other than that, seeing that he was identifying with Jimmy and how he felt, where he felt like Lois and Clark were leaving him out. He didn't know if they really were still his friends. He was questioning it until he talked to him. And then when they ended up showing up, he's like, oh, these are the friends that didn't show up and left you high and dry. And then everything got rectified.
Right.
So it actually worked. In an odd way, it worked. In a really, really odd, unexpected way, that episode and those two villains worked. I don't think it's the end of seeing them. I think we're going to see them back.
Oh, of course they're going to be back. They're going to bring back probably everybody they've shown for season into season 2.
I hope not, because some of those
they
villains
will.
need to go bye-bye.
And next you're going to see Mr. Mixaplex come up, but he's been completely revamped because I don't think they want to use the Gilbert Gottfried version since he's passed, and he looks like he's from.
And Rascal kept saying,
he looks like he's from Inuyasha. He looks like Shippo, like a blue Shippo. I'm like, okay, it looks nothing like him. It might as well be a new character.
So yes, it's really heavily influenced anime, and I said this is what High Garden and Spice wanted to be,
Right.
but didn't take the time to make it that way.
Right.
If they had taken the time to do it like it's being done here, High Garden and Spice would have been successful. Instead of giving us regular Western animation and saying, look, I don't care what your eyes are saying, don't believe your lying eyes, it's anime.
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
Right.
So let's quickly talk about the voice actors that are a part of this series. The main cast, Jack Quaid, who we've seen actually appear in some acting roles. Alice Lee as Lois Lane, I'm not familiar with her, but I'm sure some of you probably are. If you are familiar with her, let us know in the comments below. I think you said something about her being in Heathers, the play or something.
Yeah, Heather's musical.
Ishmael Saeed as Jimmy Olsen, really not familiar with him at all. We got a few favorites that we know. Kerry Walgren as Martha Kent and young Clark Kent.
Yeah, doing 2 voices.
Deborah Wilson as Amanda Walder, which was really a surprise.
Yeah,
she
to see
hasn't
her
done
in it.
anything in a little while. Jake Green is Dr. Anthony Ivo in Parasite. Zahara Fazell, Dead Girl, is Leslie Willis in
Right.
Livewire. And Vincent Tong is Steve Lombard Albert in Rough House. And last but not least, Andre Sogliuzzo as Monsieur Mala.
Right.
The rest we're not familiar with, but this seems to work. It really seems to work. And it's a nice, lighthearted, calmer version. I like the wholesomeness of it.
Mm-hmm.
I like the friendship dynamic where all three of them are friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that they're all trying to make their way in, I guess, in a profession where it's tough. You can tell from the way they talk about it in this universe. It's tough. It's hard to get into. They want a hard-hitting story. They want to leave their mark. They want to make a name for themselves, especially Lois, of course,
right,
which is her trademark. But I like this version.
Right.
I do like it. I didn't think I was going to, but I actually really like it. I'm looking forward to seeing this Thursday's episode.
Right. So, let's know.
Called My Adventures with Mad Science.
Oh, no, we saw that. It's actually, oh, gosh. Read the title, because it's like,
okay, so according to Adventures of a Normal Man, with the first 2 episodes, part 1 and part 2.
Right.
My interview with Superman is episode 3. Let's go to Ivo Tower, you say.
Right.
It says episode 4. Episode 5, You Believe a Man Can Lie.
Mm-hmm.
It says episode 6, My Adventure with Mad Science.
Okay, well, actually it's 7. I don't know how they're marking it.
Kiss Kiss Ball and Portal.
Yeah, which is a reference to Oron, and it has nothing to do with Oron.
That's right. You are right. We just saw My Adventures with Mad Science.
Yeah. Well,
so then that was episode 6.
Yeah. So we're actually in 7,
7,
so we're over halfway, and yeah, it's like, I don't know about that title. Like, this has nothing to do with Oron. That's the reference, right. But it's nothing to do with Oron.
Rotten Tomatoes, we really don't care what they think, did give it a really high rating of 100% with an average score of 8.5 out of 10. It's gotten a great rating from Common Sense Media, believe it or not. And New York Post and others have given it some really high praise.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's, again, a step in the right direction for DC Comics and Warner Brothers after the last crap year they've given us, the last crap year or 2 crap years, not only with animation and comics, but live action.
Right.
So, movies. So, yes, this is a turn in the right direction. Let's hope they keep going in this positive direction and don't decide to backtrack or backslide and give us the crap we don't want that people have been telling them they don't want, going back to it.
Right.
It looks like someone is listening and giving fans of DC what we want.
Right.
And that's a good thing.
Right.
So if you've seen My Adventures with Superman, we know you have. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Do you love it? Do you like it? Is it meh? Do you like the new version of the 3 main characters? Who's your favorite character? Are you going gaga for Lois like half the internet is? Let us know.
Right.
And if you haven't seen it, it airs on Adult Swim on Thursday nights, Central Time at 11 p.m.
And then the next day on Max.
Yes, and if you have on demand, then it actually has a section where you can go and watch the episodes after they've aired. I really want to go back before they take them off and just watch them one after the other, do like a binge watch, and see them in order without having to wait week to week.
Right.
So,
and if you haven't already, subscribe for updates from Movie's favorite anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us and watching. We really appreciate you. You guys are fantastic. And if anyone else has a suggestion of a new show you want us to watch, let us know in the comments below. We've been asked to watch Oshi Kono.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes.
I got it right this time. And a couple of other anime that we weren't familiar with. So we'll be checking those out, and then you'll be getting a podcast on us. Well, a podcast on them from us.
Right.
Letting you know what we think. We're looking forward to seeing some new shows that we haven't seen.
Right. So, thank you so much for watching. I'm Mask Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.